Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe, UNECE, it's a great pleasure and an honor for me to join previous speakers in opening this high-level review conference of the Vienna Programme of Action for landlocked developing countries in the Euro-Asian region. Landlocked developing countries face many complex challenges due to their geographic remotedness, their lack of direct access to the open sea, and the high transport and transit costs they face. They are at a significant economic disadvantage compared to the rest of the world. The Euro-Asian region hosts about 1/3 of the world's landlocked countries, including some of the largest landlocked countries, as well as some of those furthest from the open sea. At UNECE, we work closely with these countries to support their integration into the global economy. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development recognizes transport as a powerful driver of sustainable development. This is especially true for landlocked developing countries. In the field of transport at UNECE, we focus our attention on harmonization of technical and regulatory standards, the development of infrastructure networks and transport corridors, and provide practical tools to facilitate the cross-border movement of people and goods. We help to build countries' capacities in these areas and support cooperation between landlocked developing countries and transit countries. UNECE is the custodian of 58 legal instruments and the center of UN inland transport conventions and agreements. One of these is the famous TIR Convention, which is crucially important for landlocked developing countries, allowing the seamless and secure movement of goods across borders. This helps to reduce cross-border transport time by up to 80% and costs by up to 33%. UNECE provides an intergovernmental forum where member countries come together to forge tools for economic cooperation and negotiate and adopt international legal instruments on inland transport. Of the 193 UN member states, 147 states are contracting parties to at least one of these legal instruments. One of UNECE's flagship initiatives helping to improve transport connectivity in the region is the Euro-Asian Transport Links project. This project has made Euro-Asian transport a reality. It has gathered public and private sector stakeholders from over 38 countries in Europe and Asia, including not only many EU member states, but also landlocked countries in Central Asia and the South Caucasus, as well as non-UNECE countries in Asia. This collective endeavor has resulted in a set of very tangible outputs, including the identification of 9 rail and road links, 17 water transport links, 52 inland river ports, and 70 maritime ports. The prioritization of over 300 infrastructure investments initiatives on the project's routes. The development of a detailed geographical information system database, and in-depth analysis of non-physical obstacles to Euro-Asian transport, including the many obstacles relating to a lack of harmonization of technical standards and interoperability. A comparison study between maritime and inland transport. Concrete efforts to operationalize the identified corridors by preparing common time schedules and tariffs. The project has consistently paid attention to the needs of landlocked developing countries and made substantial contributions to the implementation of the Vienna Programme of Action and its predecessor program. A new UNECE-led initiative that is currently underway and that is of direct interest to our discussions over the next 2 days includes the creation of a unified railway law. Once in place, it will enable railway operators to carry out their activity within a single legal regime along the entire east-west axis connecting European and Asian landlocked developing countries to central markets in Europe and Asia. Recognizing that one of the key challenges towards sustainable infrastructure development in the Euro-Asian region remains the lack of funding, UNECE is developing an international transport infrastructure observatory. This web-based platform will enable governments to retrieve the data to prepare, benchmark, and present their transport infrastructure projects. Financial institutions, on the other hand, will use the observatory to consider, analyze, and compare projects from a regional and international perspective and identify those they wish to finance. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, since the adoption of the Vienna Programme of Action, a lot of valuable work has been undertaken in the Euro-Asian region. Tangible efforts have been made both at the national and international levels. It is time now to identify the remaining needs and challenges and develop tailored responses to remedy them. This review conference will be instrumental in this regard. It will allow us to better focus our future work and further strengthen cooperation among governments, the private sector, and international organizations. Work to unlock the economic and trade potential of Euro-Asian landlocked developing countries must continue. More efforts are needed and coordinated actions are required. Let us work together to make it a reality. I wish you all success in your deliberations and thank you for your attention.